In 1955, Albert Einstein, one of the most brilliant minds of the 20th century, passed away. In the days following his death, a story began to circulate that his brain had been removed and preserved for scientific study. As the details of this story emerged, it became clear that the truth was stranger than fiction. Einstein's brain had not only been removed, but it had been stolen and passed around among a group of researchers for decades. This strange and unsettling story has captivated the public's imagination for decades and has led many to wonder why Einstein's brain was stolen in the first place. The story of Einstein's brain begins with the doctor who performed his autopsy, Dr. Thomas Harvey. Harvey was a pathologist at Princeton Hospital where Einstein had been taken after suffering a fatal aortic aneurysm. After performing the autopsy, Harvey removed Einstein's brain without the knowledge or consent of the family. He later claimed that he had done so in order to study it, hoping to uncover the secrets of Einstein's genius. It's worth noting that at the time, the idea of studying the brain of a deceased individual was not particularly unusual. Researchers had been studying brains for years in order to better understand neurological disorders and the workings of the brain. However, the way that Harvey went about obtaining Einstein's brain was certainly questionable. Once he had the brain in his possession, Harvey began to conduct a series of experiments on it. He carefully sliced it into sections and preserved it in jars of formaldehyde. Over the years, he sent samples of the brain to researchers around the world, hoping to unlock the secrets of Einstein's genius. In many cases, the researchers who received the samples had no idea where they had come from or that they had once belonged to Einstein. This strange and unauthorized research went on for several years until Harvey was finally caught. In 1998, a journalist named Michael Paterniti tracked down Harvey and discovered that he still had Einstein's brain in his possession. Paterniti convinced Harvey to allow him to examine the brain and even arranged for it to be scanned using modern technology. The results of the scan were fascinating. They revealed that Einstein's brain was actually slightly smaller than average, but that certain regions of the brain were much more developed than those of the average person. In particular, the parietal lobes, which are involved in spatial reasoning and mathematical ability, were significantly larger than average. These findings only added to the mystique surrounding Einstein's brain and its theft. Why had Harvey gone to such lengths to obtain and study the brain of a deceased man without his family's permission? The answer to these questions may lie in our fascination with genius and the desire to unlock its secrets. Einstein was a towering figure in the scientific world, and many people hoped that studying his brain would help them to understand how he had been able to achieve so much. For Harvey, the brain represented an opportunity to make a name for himself in the scientific community and to unlock the secrets of one of the greatest minds of all time. At the same time, the story of Einstein's brain also speaks to our fascination with death and the ways in which we seek to preserve the memories of those we have lost. For many people, the idea of preserving a loved one's brain or other organs after death is a way of keeping them close, even after they are gone. In the case of Einstein, the preservation of his brain allowed us to continue to study and learn from him long after his death. Of course, the theft of Einstein's brain was not without its controversies. The fact that Harvey had removed the brain without the family's consent was a clear violation of ethical standards. This was especially true given that Einstein had expressed a desire to be cremated and for his ashes to be scattered in a private ceremony. Instead, his brain was removed and kept for decades, passed around among researchers who had no connection to Einstein or his family. There was also the question of what exactly Harvey had hoped to accomplish by studying Einstein's brain. While the scan of the brain did reveal some interesting findings, it's not clear that they shed much light on Einstein's genius. After all, many people have large parietal lobes, but few achieve the level of intellectual achievement that Einstein did. In addition, the way that Harvey went about studying the brain was somewhat questionable. He sliced it into sections and preserved it in jars of formaldehyde, a process that may have caused some damage to the tissue. And by sending samples of the brain to researchers around the world, he was essentially allowing anyone with an interest in Einstein to conduct experiments on his brain, without any oversight or ethical considerations. Despite these controversies, the story of Einstein's brain has continued to captivate the public's imagination. In the years since the theft, there have been numerous books, documentaries, and even a play that have explored the strange and unsettling story of the brain's journey from Princeton Hospital to various research labs around the world. Part of the fascination with the story likely stems from our continued interest in Einstein himself. Even more than 60 years after his death, he remains a towering figure in the scientific world, and his contributions to our understanding of the universe continue to shape the way we think about the world. The fact that his brain was removed and studied without his family's consent only adds to the mystery and allure of his legacy. At the same time, the story of Einstein's brain also raises important questions about the ethics of scientific research. In the years since the theft, there have been numerous debates about the proper way to study the brain and other organs of deceased individuals. While there is no question that studying the brain can yield valuable insights into the workings of the mind, it's important to do so in an ethical and respectful manner.